Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna start a new series, What If Naruto Became the God of Sealing Part 1. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Naruto was still upset about failing his graduation exam for the second time as he walked through the streets of Konoha. Naruto thought, "You failed, Naruto." He laughed at the thought. What else is new? Naruto didn't pay much attention to where he was going or to the villagers who hatefully looked at him. Naruto was suddenly told a story he had never heard before. He decided to go into the story and saw two men talking about a tag. The man with the brown hair said, "I don't think that's a storage seal. It looks more like a chakra seal. And I'm telling you it's a storage seal," said the big man with the deep voice. "You know what? Let's just turn it on and find out what it is," said the other. As they started to put the tag down, Naruto caught a glimpse of the seal and felt a strange tug deep inside of him, as if the seal were calling to him. Naruto shouted, "Stop." The two men stopped and stared at Naruto with surprise in their eyes. "It's an explosive tag," said one man. The other man looked at him and laughed. "Look, kid, we don't need a little kid trying to tell us what." The man stopped and looked at the seal again. His friend looked at him and then back at the tag. He said, "Wow, how did we miss that?" as he gently picked up the tag. "Well, it's an old version of an explosive seal," he said, looking deep in thought. "I haven't seen a tag like this in a long time, so it's easy to see how we could have confused it for something else, especially since we were arguing." His friend looked at Naruto and said, "Yeah, but still, we almost blew ourselves and our shop up." "That would be one thing to say. We just moved here and we're going to blow ourselves up. Excuse us, but we need to introduce ourselves. My name is Ishiki, and this is my brother Denpa." "My name is Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto told the two brothers. Denpa asked Naruto, "I have a question for you," with an eyebrow raised. "How did you know it was a tag with a bomb on it?" Naruto didn't do anything but smile and put his hands behind his head. Naruto said, "I don't know, it just looked like the seal said explosive," but his brothers didn't believe him. Ishiki held up 3 tags with different seals and said, "Okay, tell me if you know what these are." Naruto looked at them for a few seconds, and then he started talking. Naruto pointed to the tag and said, "This one is a sealing tag. This is a chakra sealing tag, and this is an explosive tag like the ones we use now," Naruto told his brothers, who were amazed. Denpa laughed and said, "Kid, you just got them all right. Hey, listen, do you know what finjutsu are?" Naruto shut his eyes so he could focus. "Sorry, I think I fell asleep during that part of Iruka's talk," Naruto said, and the brothers were once again amazed. Ishiki looked at his brother, who nodded, and thought, "This kid doesn't know what finjutsu is, but he got everything right." Denpa went to the back and brought a dusty book with him. Ishiki said, "Here, we want you to take this. It's a book about finjutsu," Naruto said as he looked at the book and opened it, only to close it again and try to give it back to its owner. Naruto said, "It looks boring," which surprised the people telling the story. Denpa said, "That's boring. I'll tell you that finjutsu is probably one of the hardest things to master ever. Hell, there aren't many people who can be considered seal masters. The reason is that people don't realize how important finjutsu is. If someone were to master finjutsu completely, which means they spent most of their lives learning it, there's no telling what they could do." After Ishiki and Denpa said all of this, Naruto's eyes got a strange look. Naruto was surprised to hear that finjutsu could be stronger than ninjutsu. "Yes," Denpa said, but his brother cut him off. Ishiki said, "But it depends on what kind of seal you are using." The answer would be yes if someone used the right seal and put it on their body, but the problem is, once again, that almost no one wants to learn that lost art. Naruto shouted, "I'll get it. I don't know, you look like a weakling to me." Denpa said, "I don't think you can handle it." Naruto said, "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I never break my word. If I say I'll master this, I will." Before anyone could stop him, Naruto ran out the door. Denpa and Ishiki smiled at each other when they saw each other. Denpa popped his neck and said, "Finally, we found that little one. I was afraid we'd never find him." Ishiki said, "Okay, so it took longer than planned, but at least we found him." They thought that keeping his name Uzumaki would keep him safe. How sad. If anything, they probably made him an even bigger target. At least we're giving the Uzumaki clan a chance to come back. Denpa nodded his head. Denpa said, "Let's get out of here," as he started to put some of the goods away. "Sure," Ishiki said. "Stay safe, young Uzumaki, because the world outside these walls will be quiet. Unforgivable." But then he saw his brother putting some seals away. Ishiki yelled, "What are you doing, you idiot?" as he grabbed a metal bowl and started hitting Denpa over the head with it. "Those are explosive tags that shouldn't be near embers of fire. He grabbed the bowl away from his brother. Then Denpa used it to hit Ishiki over the head. Denpa yelled, "You didn't have to hit me," until his brother grabbed him by the throat. Denpa did the same thing, and then the two started to strangle each other. A customer came in, looked at the scene, and then slowly walked out. Naruto got to his apartment and sat on his bed with the book in his lap. Technique stronger than ninjutsu, Naruto shook at the thought. He opened the book and found a note inside. "Naruto, we gave you this book for one reason and one reason only, to help your clan come back. You see, Naruto, you are most likely the last Uzumaki left. They used to be a powerful clan that made villages shake in fear and could possibly rival even the Senju and Uchiha clans. But that time has long since passed. By the time you read this, we will be gone. But don't worry, we'll see you again. Denpa and Ishiki." Naruto reread what the message said and still couldn't believe what he was reading. "I was part of a clan," Naruto said, still in shock from what the message said. "I need to look into this." Naruto said this as he ran towards the Hokage's tower, but when he got there he found that Sarutobi was in a meeting and he wasn't allowed to disturb it. So Naruto went to the next best place. Naruto thought, "Damn it," and cursed himself for not finding the book. He looked at the Senju clan book and began to look through it. Naruto whispered to himself, the Senju clan were masters of all skills, including ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. This earned them the name Sen no Tiomatsu Ikazoku, which means the clan with 1,000 skills. The only other clans that could compete with them were the Uchiha and the... Naruto cursed again when he found that the other name was torn off. He skipped. "I was so close to finding out more about my family," Naruto thought as he put the book down and snuck out of the library again. Why would someone go to the trouble of trying to hide information about the Uzumaki clan? He asked himself. Iruka was walking through the streets of Konoha when he thought, 2 more weeks, and the next group of students will arrive at the academy. But then he ran into someone he knew just by the tips of his hair. "Naruto, what are you up to? Where did you get the book?" Iruka asked. But he couldn't believe Naruto was carrying a book with a mark in the middle of it. Naruto was also carrying a rectangular box. "Oh, this is a book that some people gave me, so I've been reading it," Naruto said. But he was confused when he saw Iruka's shocked face. Iruka thought to himself as he looked down at Naruto, "If Naruto is reading, then the end of the world has come. Anyway, I should get going. I have a lot more reading to do," Naruto said as he started to walk down the street again with his book tightly in his hands. "Is this really Naruto?" Iruka asked himself this as he looked at his most hyperactive student. 2 weeks later, Iruka looked at his new class and sighed. "I have most of the clan heirs here, plus the last Uchiha." Iruka hung his head, but then shook it when he noticed that someone was missing. "Wait a minute, where is Naruto?" Iruka was about to go look for the little prankster when the door opened and Naruto walked in. "I'm sorry, Iruka-sensei, I overslept," Naruto said with a smile. He looked around at everyone's shocked faces and gave a fox-like smile. "I thought I'd try something new this year." Iruka just shook his head and told Naruto to take a seat. "Okay, now that everyone is here, why don't we start by asking a few questions?" Iruka said as he looked around and saw Naruto smiling at him. "Okay, Naruto, let's see what you have to say." Naruto said, "My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I want to become Hokage one day." Iruka just smiled, because he knew Naruto's speech by heart by now. But before Iruka could ask someone else, Naruto spoke up again. "But I also want to learn as much as I can about a certain clan." This made everyone look confused. "I wonder what clan he might be talking about," Iruka thought to himself. "How about you, Nara?" Iruka said, pointing to the boy who was trying to sleep. Shikamaru grumbled, "Troublesome. My name is Shikamaru Nara, and anything else would be too troublesome to talk about." With that, Shikamaru fell right back to sleep. "Okay, that was interesting," Iruka thought as he looked around the room and saw that everyone else was either not paying attention or looking at Sasuke, except for one Hyuga girl who was sneaking looks at Naruto. "Okay, let's skip the introductions for now and move on to jutsu," Iruka said, smiling as she saw everyone look up and get excited first. "Does anybody know any jutsu?" Iruka saw 4 hands pop up, but the one that caught his attention was Naruto's. Iruka smiled to herself as she thought, "I wonder what the little prankster has planned." "Okay, knowing the Uchihas, we should probably take this outside." The classroom got up and started to move outside. Everyone began to line up and form almost a semicircle around the 4. "Alright, who wants to go first?" Iruka asked as he looked around and saw Shikamaru walk forward. Shikamaru said, "It would be too troublesome to watch the others perform, so I'll go first and then go to sleep." He made the tiger seal with his hands. "Cage man," he said lazily. Shikamaru's shadow stretched forward and connected with Iruka's. Shikamaru started dancing in a way that made him look like a monkey dancing, but Iruka had to do the same. Okay, I get the point, Iruka yelled, and Shikamaru smiled as his shadow went back to him. Okay, next. Iruka watched as Choji walked forward, eating a bag of chips. Choji said, Beika no jutsu while he was eating chips. Suddenly, he grew like a balloon and started rolling around the area like a boulder. When he stopped, he shrunk back down to his normal size. As soon as Sasuke walked up, his little fan club started cheering for their favorite ninja. Sasuke went through a series of hand signs until he stopped on the tiger seal. Katen, Jikeki no jutsu, he said as he blew out a fireball. Everyone was surprised that Sasuke did a very powerful jutsu, and wasn't even. I can't mess this up, Naruto thought. Iruka, I'm going to need you to show this off. Iruka didn't want to let Naruto use a jutsu on him, but he had no choice. Naruto started to shake his legs while closing his eyes and taking deep breaths. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and Naruto was gone. Very good speed, Naruto, but that doesn't really count as. Iruka stopped talking when his body froze up. Iruka couldn't talk and he could barely move. He looked back up at Naruto, who was holding a one-handed seal and tiger. What if he is using a one-handed seal? Then that means. Iruka looked at his arm and sure enough there were black symbols all over his arm. I can't believe that worked, Naruto said, but his excitement died when Iruka put a bit more chakra into his arms and broke out of Naruto's seal. Oh, come on, Iruka, why did you have to break out of it? Naruto asked as Iruka walked over to him with shock in his eyes. Naruto, when did you learn how to do Fuinjutsu? Iruka asked, still in shock. Oh, not long ago, Naruto said with a smile as he put one of his legs in the air. I put a seal on my leg to help me move faster with just a little bit of chakra instead of building chakra into the bottoms of my feet and wasting more chakra. The only problem with it is that it makes me go in a straight line. So, if someone knew that, they could just dodge. That seal I put on you was meant to paralyze someone. But if they put enough chakra through their body, they can break it. Naruto seemed happy that he finally got to show off his new seals. But Iruka was shocked beyond belief. Iruka thought to himself as he watched Naruto smile. The worst kid in the whole class can understand the most complicated thing in the world like it's nothing. If Naruto keeps doing this, we might just have another seal master, he added. Iruka said in a stern voice, Naruto, do you know how dangerous that is? All that needs to go wrong is one thing, and that's it for you. Naruto just looked at Iruka and smiled. That's it, Iruka. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, he said as he turned around, leaving Iruka stunned. Naruto was happy because, for the first time, his training in Finjutsu put him on par with Sasuke in jutsu skills. The only problem is that he still puts too much chakra into the seals. He got the concept down, and even made a few new seals, but he always put too much chakra into them. Naruto said to himself again, I can't fail now. He remembered how he was brought to the Hokage because of his secret Finjutsu training. Flashback. Naruto, Iruka told me that you've been training yourself to use Finjutsu-based techniques, Sarutobi said with a questioning look. Is this true? Yes, and the reason is that no matter how hard I try, I can't get down the academy-based ninjutsu, Naruto said with a small amount of sadness in his voice. So someone gave me a book on Finjutsu, and I found that I'm pretty good at it. It doesn't take chakra to use, so that helps me out. Sarutobi nodded his head, but he still looked a little worried. You should have told me what you were planning, Naruto, so I could have helped you. Finjutsu is a very dangerous thing to carry around and test out. You need to be completely focused, because if even the smallest thing goes wrong, it could cost you your life. Naruto nodded his head and started to walk away when he remembered something. Old man, do you know of a way to help me with the Bunshin no Jutsu? It's my worst technique. Sarutobi just looked at Naruto with a sad smile on her face. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't help you, he said, raising his hand to make sure no one else spoke. The reason is that if I show favoritism, I'll have to teach others. You understand, don't you? Sarutobi watched as Naruto nodded his head and walked away. When Naruto left, Sarutobi made a small movement with his hand, and an ANBU came out of the ground. I want you to keep a close eye on Naruto, Sarutobi told the ANBU. I want him watched even when he's not in the academy. The ANBU bowed and disappeared into the floor. Sarutobi was worried that Naruto was starting to learn Fuinjutsu because it meant that soon specific people would try to kill or kidnap the young Uzumaki. Naruto watched as Sasuke got up and walked to the testing room. He knew it was his turn next. Hinata looked at Naruto with worry in her eyes. She was happy for Naruto finally finding something he was good at. But every student has to know how to use the Bunshin Jutsu. So good luck, Naruto, the voice said. Naruto turned around, but he couldn't see where the voice came from. Iruka said, Okay, Naruto, do a Bunshin. Naruto took a deep breath and put his hands together. In a screen of smoke, Naruto had a clone next to him, but it looked sickly and was laying on the floor twitching. Naruto looked at Iruka, who looked a little disappointed in Naruto's clone. I don't understand it, Naruto, Iruka said as he folded his hands together and started to think. You use Finjutsu like you've been doing it your whole life, but when it comes to using the Bunshin, it always looks like that. Naruto looked down at the ground, saddened by what he heard. He didn't feel better until he heard Mizuki say, "Come on, Iruka, let's give him a break this time. Look at what he's done. He's using Finjutsu, which most people can't even do." Naruto felt a little better, but his mood changed when Iruka spoke again. Iruka said, "That doesn't matter," but the way he said what he was about to say made it seem like it hurt him. Every student needs to make a Bunshin. But he could only make one, which is pathetic. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't beat you." Iruka looked at Naruto and saw pain in those deep blue eyes. Naruto walked away, and Iruka felt his heart break for doing that to Naruto. Great, now I can start my plan, Mizuki thought with a smile that would chill a person to the core. Naruto was sitting on a swing and watching as the parents praised their children for making it to the ninja ranks. Naruto saw some of the parents give him looks of disgust and anger, but he didn't care. It doesn't matter, he thought. I can't pass the test no matter what I do. Suddenly, Naruto felt someone standing next to him. When he looked to his right, he saw Mizuki smiling at him. Naruto was running away from the Hokage tower with the scroll of sealing on his back. He was going to the place Mizuki told him to meet him. But when he got there, he didn't see Mizuki anywhere. Well, since I have this thing, I might as well try to learn something, Naruto said as he opened the scroll and saw the first Jutsu Kage Bunshin. Damn it, this is my worst technique. Alright, I better get started if I want to learn this thing. Naruto then used what little time he had to learn the Kage Bunshin technique. An hour later, a very angry Iruka showed up before a tired Naruto. There you are, Iruka said in a voice full of anger. It looks like you found me, sensei, Naruto said as he rubbed the top of his head. Listen, I'm going to show you this awesome jutsu I learned from this scroll, and you're going to make me a ninja. Iruka was confused as he looked at Naruto. What are you talking about? Iruka asked this as he looked at Naruto with a look of pure confusion. Mizuki-sensei told me that anyone who learns a jutsu from this scroll can graduate even if they didn't pass the graduation exam. Naruto said this with a smile, but it quickly turned into a frown when he saw Iruka looking more shocked and confused. Iruka, what's? Naruto didn't finish his sentence. Iruka heard a whistling sound and looked to his right just in time to. "Eye out!" Iruka yelled and shoved Naruto away. Iruka took the whole barrage of kunai and fell against the abandoned cabin. Naruto watched as Iruka coughed up blood. Naruto looked in the direction the kunai were thrown and saw Mizuki with 2 Fuma shurikens on his back. Mizuki, Iruka grunted as he tried to move, but pain shot through his entire body. Naruto, give me the scroll, and your test is over, Mizuki said, hoping that Naruto would believe. Don't Naruto, Iruka said. Mizuki is lying. Mizuki began to laugh at that. Mizuki said, I'm lying, please, Iruka. The whole village has been lying to you from the start, Naruto. Iruka's eyes grew wide when he realized what Mizuki was about to do. Misuki I don't. Iruka shouted. What are you talking about? Naruto asked. There was a law in the past that said no one could talk about the decree, Mizuki said with a smile. What decision? Naruto asked, not liking where this was heading. It's prohibited, Mizuki. Iruka called out again. The law said that no one could talk about how the Kyuubi was sealed inside a baby, Mizuki said. And Naruto's eyes widened. That baby was you, Naruto. That's why everyone hates you and why no one will ever miss you when you die. Naruto watched as Mizuki pulled out one of his Fuma shuriken and threw the big buzzsaw at him. Naruto watched as the blade got closer and closer. Naruto get down. Naruto heard Iruka say this, and he ducked. Suddenly, he felt something wet drip onto his hand, and when he looked up, he saw Iruka leaning over him with the shuriken in his back. Even though it hurt, Iruka smiled down at Naruto even though blood was coming up in his mouth. Are you okay, Naruto? Iruka asked with pain in every word. Why? Naruto asked. Because I know what it's like to grow up alone. Iruka said, I know that you play pranks to get people to notice you. I understand everything, but I've never once tried to help you. For that, I'm sorry, Naruto. Naruto looked at Iruka with some happiness until Mizuki spoke again. What a laugh, Mizuki said with a chuckle. Iruka is just lying to you so you won't go and use the scroll to get your revenge. Who can blame the guy for lying about the one thing that nearly destroyed Konoha? Naruto then did the one thing Iruka didn't want him to do. He ran full speed away from both Iruka and Mizuki. Naruto. Iruka screamed loudly. You know that look in his eyes. Iruka, Mizuki said as he came up behind Iruka. He is going to use that scroll to destroy the village. That's just how beasts are. Mizuki watched as Iruka grabbed the shuriken out of his back. Not who Naruto is. Iruka yelled this as he threw the big weapon at Mizuki. who just sidestepped out of the way. Thanks, I'll save you for later, Mizuki said. But right now, I have another appointment to keep. With that, Mizuki ran in the direction went. Iruka fell down on one knee and stared at Mizuki. I won't let you, he said as he got up and ran in the same direction. Mizuki, who had turned into Iruka, saw Naruto running up ahead of him and smiled. Naruto, everything Mizuki said was a lie, Mizuki said as he came up from behind Naruto. He was only saying those things because he couldn't finish because Naruto jumped and slammed his head into Mizuki's gut. Mizuki fell to the ground with a thud. Then he saw Naruto smile. Because I'm Iruka, Naruto said as he turned back into Iruka. Mizuki just took off his other shuriken and threw it at Iruka. It stuck in Iruka's stomach, and more blood started to come out of his mouth. Mizuki walked over and pulled the shuriken out of Iruka's stomach. Why in the hell would you be trying to save that animal? Mizuki asked. I mean, it was him who killed your parents, so why do you protect the beast? Because my problem is with the Kyuubi, not Naruto, Iruka said as he looked at Mizuki with blood all over his face and vest. And other than the jokes, Naruto hasn't done anything wrong to hurt me or the village. Mizuki just started to laugh. Okay, if you want to die for the demon, then die. Mizuki said this as he swung his shuriken at Mizuki. But before the attack could reach Mizuki, Naruto kicked him in the head with a roundhouse kick, sending him backwards. Naruto said, if you touch Iruka-sensei one more time, I won't just kill you. I'll rip you to pieces. Mizuki was about to say something, but Naruto made a cross with his fingers and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu when the smoke cleared. The entire forest was surrounded by hundreds of Naruto. Mizuki thought, fuck me, as the forest erupted in screams. Naruto watched as the clones turned into smoke. When Naruto turned around, he saw Iruka breathing hard. Iruka-sensei, I'm sorry if I didn't steal this stupid scroll, Naruto started, but Iruka laughed. Iruka thought, judging by the amount of blood, I won't live much longer, but I can make it right. Naruto, close your eyes. The request confused Naruto, but he did it anyway. When he opened his eyes, he saw that Iruka wasn't wearing his headband. Naruto touched his forehead and felt the metal. Congratulations Naruto, you pass. Iruka-sensei, please do not die. Naruto yelled out as he looked around for someone to help them. You're one of the only people who doesn't treat me like a disease. Please don't go. Iruka smiled at Naruto, and then he thought of something. He pulled out a scroll and opened it. In a puff of smoke, he saw a black vest with a broken zipper that looked like it had been burned by something. Iruka told Naruto, this belonged to my father, and I'm not going to need it anymore. He then gave Naruto the vest. I want you to have it to always remember me by. Naruto didn't know what to say. He looked at the vets, then back at Iruka, and he started to cry because of what he saw and heard from Iruka. Naruto, you were always my favorite student. You almost always acted just like me. With that, Iruka died with a smile on his face. Naruto, on the other hand, was crying and holding Iruka's body as if you squeezed hard enough, Iruka would come back. Naruto stayed like that until the Hokage and 3 others came and took Mizuki away. Sarutobi approached Naruto carefully. Sarutobi asked, Naruto, are you okay? He already knew that Naruto wasn't okay, but he still had to ask. He died because of me, Naruto said to Sarutobi with tears in his eyes. If I hadn't, but Sarutobi quickly grabbed Naruto and pulled him into a hug. It's not your fault, Naruto, Sarutobi said in a very kind voice. Mizuki took advantage of you when he knew you were most vulnerable. It's not your fault, it's his. Naruto cried into the old Hokage as Sarutobi pulled him away from Iruka's body as 2 Jonin came in and started to carry his body back to the village. Sarutobi watched Naruto put the vest Iruka gave him over his shirt. Before Sarutobi could say anything, Naruto beat him to it. What's going to happen now? Naruto asked as he held Iruka's headband in his hands. Well, first we need to give Iruka a proper funeral, Sarutobi said. Then we'll have to switch up the teams a bit to find a place for you, he said. Naruto looked at him in surprise. Why? Naruto said. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but I thought after tonight. Naruto's voice trailed off after that. Naruto, Iruka gave you his headband because he thought you were ready to become a ninja, Sarutobi said with a kind smile. I would be stupid not to take his last choice into account, Naruto said. He nodded his head, but he didn't look as excited as he usually did. So when is his burial? Naruto asked as he looked at the ground. Today, Sarutobi said as he watched Naruto nod one last time and start to walk out the door. He really cared about you, Naruto. Whenever he saw you struggling with a jutsu, he would always come to me for help. He thought that when you became a ninja, you would be the best there was. Naruto stopped at the door for a second before closing it behind him. I promise Iruka that I will always protect what is important to me, Naruto thought. The The funeral went well. All of Iruka's classes came to mourn the loss of their teacher, but if anything, Naruto's life got worse. The adults asked the Hokage to strip Naruto of his ninja rank and keep him from entering the ninja academy because he stole the scroll of sealing and was involved in Iruka's death. But Sarutobi ignored their requests. Naruto was the first person at the funeral, and he was also the first person to put a flower on Iruka's grave, which didn't go over well with most of the adults. When the funeral was over, only a few people stayed behind. Naruto, Hinata, Shino, and Sarutobi kept looking at Naruto with what seemed to be worry in his eyes. Shino walked up to Naruto, who was sitting in front of Iruka's grave, and gave him a pat on the shoulder, though at first he wasn't sure what to do. Both Sarutobi and Hinata walked up to Naruto as well. Sarutobi gave Naruto a small hug. Then it was just Hinata and Naruto left alone. Hinata kept looking around nervously, trying to decide what to do or say. That was until Naruto stood up and started to walk away. "I'm so sorry about Iruka," Hinata said. "You two were close." Naruto turned around and smiled for the first time today. Even if it was a sad smile, it was still a smile. "We were close," Naruto said, looking at his grave again. "Hey, Hinata," Naruto said. Hinata looked at Naruto with full attention. "Iruka and I usually go out for ramen, so I was wondering if you'd like to join us." Hinata was shocked at first and almost fainted, but she kept her strength and stood her ground. "Sure, Naruto," Hinata said with a blush. Hinata knew this wasn't going to be a date, but she also knew that Naruto wasn't himself right now, and that he needed someone, and it just so happened to be her. Naruto smiled and started walking toward his favorite ramen stand. He was thinking about Iruka and how much time they had spent together at that one ramen stand. Team assignments were put off for 4 days so that a new teacher could be found and some people could get over Iruka. Naruto stayed in his apartment for 4 days and just threw his kunai at the wall. Sarutobi or Hinata were the only people he would want to see. Sarutobi would check on Naruto every now and then, and Hinata would bring food to her crush. Hinata and Naruto got closer during those 4 years. They weren't close enough to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, but they were close enough to almost be. Hinata actually got Naruto out of his house and into the world. Naruto walked in with his usual smile, which let everyone know he was back. However, he was carrying something with him, and a more serious mood followed the blonde. He still played around whenever he could, but whenever someone made fun of him, he stopped being silly and became serious. Naruto's hair seemed to have gotten a lot wilder and longer in the last 4 days. People started to notice that Naruto started to train harder and faster than ever before, as if Iruka's death had made him realize something. Because of this, Naruto's arms, hands, and neck were wrapped in bandages, which made people try to look under the bandages. Some people liked the new change in Naruto because it showed that he wouldn't let anyone on his team get hurt in the end. Someone walked into the classroom with a clipboard. Everyone guessed that it had the names of the people they would be working with. Genma looked around the room and said, "My name is Genma, and I'm here to tell you who your squad is." "Okay, let's get started," said Genma. Everyone listened as he told the students which team they were on. Team 7 will be Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Your Jonin-sensei will be Kakashi Hadake. There were different reactions. Sakura started chanting that she was on the same team as Sasuke. Sasuke just shrugged his shoulders to show he didn't care, and Naruto showed no reaction except for a small smile that some people missed. Genma kept going until all of the teams were named. He said, "Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Kiba and Yuzuka. Your Jonin-sensei will be Kurenai Yuhai. Okay, your Jonin-senseis should be here in an hour or so to pick you up. Until then, try to get to know your squad mates," Genma said, and he and the students with their squads left through the door. Team 7 was the only group that stayed behind. Sakura said, Sasuke, would you like to go get something to eat while we wait for our teacher?" To get Sasuke alone. Sasuke didn't answer because he was too busy watching Naruto start to draw seals on tags. "Naruto," Sasuke said, getting Naruto's attention. "What are you doing?" asked Sasuke. Naruto just smiled. Naruto said with a smile, "Oh, I'm making a special little seal for a certain someone." So Naruto got up and said, "How about we go get something to eat? I'm starving." "So, are you two coming?" Naruto asked. Sasuke shrugged and got up, then he and Sakura followed Naruto. One of Naruto's cage bunshin sneaked up on Sasuke and Sakura and put 2 of the tags in their pack without them knowing. After 3 hours, Sakura yelled out as she walked around, "Where is he?" "He's 2 hours late," Naruto said, but instead of yelling, he drew a seal on a bucket of water, and another seal above the door. Sasuke was confused as he watched what Naruto did. Sasuke wondered, what is he up to now? As he watched Naruto put water in the bucket, He then put the bucket under his desk, put his feet up on his desk, and waited. When the door opened, a man with a headband over his left eye and silver hair that stood straight up against gravity walked in. He looked around the room and saw Sakura staring at the dead man. My first impression is Kakashi was about to say, but Naruto made a tiger seal and a puff of smoke, so Kakashi didn't finish. First, he didn't know what was going on until water and a bucket fell on him. Naruto finished for him with a laugh, "I see that you are all wet." Kakashi took the bucket off and looked at it. He felt something when he saw a seal on the bottom. He looked up at the door and saw another seal that was the exact opposite of the one on the bucket. Kakashi thought, "Transfer seals," as he watched Naruto walk toward him with his hands in his pockets. Naruto walked up to Kakashi and smiled. "The Hokage was right, he has been studying seals," he said. Kakashi chuckled. Kakashi said, "Meet me on the roof in a minute," and then he vanished in a swirl of leaves. Sasuke and Sakura were right behind Naruto when he smiled even wider and started walking up the stairs to the roof. The top. Kakashi took a close look at the team in front of him. Kakashi looked at Sakura and said, "Okay, let's see how fast we can get through introductions. You get the pinky." Sakura was angry about the name, but she didn't know what Kakashi meant. "What do you mean?" Sakura asked. Kakashi sighed and said, "Okay, I'll go first. My name is Kakashi Hadake. I don't like talking about things I don't like, and I haven't really thought about my future." All we knew was his name, they thought with a drop of sweat. "My name is Sakura Haruno and I like." Sakura looked at Sasuke and blushed. "I don't like perverts and stupid Ino, and my dream is." She looked at Sasuke and laughed. Kakashi pointed at Sasuke and said, "All right, you with the attitude." Sasuke didn't look too angry. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha." Sasuke said, "I have no likes and a lot of dislikes. My dream, no, my goal is to bring back the Uchiha clan and kill a certain man." Kakashi was a little worried about Sasuke, but he had to put it off for now. "Okay, Whiskers, you're up next," Kakashi said to Naruto, who was making a new seal at the time. Naruto didn't look up from his seal as he said, "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like to make new seals and learn new jutsu. I hate people who don't give someone a chance to get to know them before persecuting them. My dream is for people to remember a certain clan, but my other dream is to become Hokage." Kakashi thought, "Okay, I have a fangirl, an Avenger, and a Jinchuriki who is interested in Fuinjutsu. Okay, everyone, the Genin test is at Training Ground 3, Kakashi said, raising his hand to stop anyone from talking. "Be there at 8 a.m. sharp, and don't eat anything because you'll throw up." With that, Kakashi disappeared in a cloud of leaves, leaving his team to think. Tomorrow, we'll go to Training Ground 7. Team 7 was out in the field waiting for Kakashi, who was an hour late. Sakura kept jumping around, but Sasuke and Naruto didn't rush her. Naruto made a few clones in secret to put seals around the area, while Sasuke just leaned against a tree. Kakashi appeared out of nowhere and waved at the group. Sakura yelled, "Where have you been?" "Well, you see," Kakashi said with a smile. "I was walking this way when an old woman asked me for help. Then I had to dodge a black cat, and then I just got lost on the road of life." Sakura called him a liar. Sasuke did nothing but stand up, but Naruto's reaction was the most surprising. Naruto said with a raised eyebrow, "Lost on the road of life," and Kakashi nodded his head. "That happens to me sometimes, even though that road has some beautiful scenery," Kakashi said. Everyone was shocked, but he got over it and smiled at the blonde. "Yes, it does, Naruto," Kakashi said. Kakashi then held up 2 bells and said, "All right, let's start this test. Those who get the bells get to go and eat while the other one is tied to the pole." Sakura said, "But Kakashi, there are only 2 bells," which made her sensei smile. "One of you will fail and have to go back to the academy," he said. Everyone looked shocked. Kakashi yelled, "So you better come at me with the intention to kill. Go." He then watched as the group ran away. Kakashi was looking around. "Pretty good," Kakashi said. "I can't find," Kakashi started to say, but stopped when Naruto walked in front of him. "You know you should hide, right?" Naruto smiled at him. "Yeah, but if I hide, I can't try out my seals," Naruto said as he took off one of his vest's pockets. "I know this will either work or it will blow up and kill me, but oh well, you live and you learn." Naruto pulled out a red tag with a fire seal on it. Kakashi got into a ready position and thought, "I shouldn't let my guard down, because I don't know what's going to happen." Naruto raised the seal until it was at the same height as his head. Then he let go of the seal and put his hand on the back of the tag. Kakashi didn't understand why the seal was floating in the air until he heard Naruto speak. Naruto said, "Fuinjutsu, Shaokyaku," in a very clear way. The tag went up in flames all of a sudden, leaving behind a fireball. Kakashi looked at it and was about to say something when it turned into a stream of fire and shot forward. Kakashi moved out of the way of the fire stream, But when Naruto moved his arm, the fire followed. Kakashi kept running until the fire went out. Kakashi was amazed that he was able to put fire inside a seal. When the fire went out, Naruto thought about his hand. 3 seconds, Naruto told Kakashi, which made him confused. Naruto then tried to grab another tag, but Kakashi wouldn't let him. Kakashi went away in a flash, which surprised Naruto. Kakashi came up behind Naruto and hit the back of his neck with a chop to knock him out, but Naruto didn't fall to the ground. Instead, he disappeared. Kage Bunshin, Kakashi said with a smile. Kakashi looked around and saw that Naruto was nowhere to be found. He thought he could be interesting. So the real one is hiding somewhere and sending his clones to attack me with Fuinjutsu to find a weakness. All that Fuinjutsu training really paid off for both his intelligence and patience. Kakashi kept looking, but he decided to make a few clones to go find the 3 kids. Naruto asked Sasuke and Sakura, who both looked doubtful, if they had ever heard of a 2-person team. Sakura said maybe this is a special rule, but she didn't really believe it. While Naruto looked from one to the other, Sasuke just thought to himself. Naruto stood up and ran through the forest. Okay, let's just work together. I'll make an opening, and you guys go in and get those bells. It's okay if I lose, he said. Sakura asked her crush, Sasuke, what do you think? As she looked at him, Sasuke didn't answer back, but he looked at Naruto's body as it disappeared. Kakashi asked no one in particular, where in this world are they? And got an answer. Maybe you should look in the trees, came the reply. Kakashi looked up and saw Naruto holding 2 red tags. Fuinjutsu, Shaokyaku. 2 roaring streams of fire came at Kakashi, and he had to move out of the way. When the 2 streams of fire stopped, Naruto came out of the fire with fire in his eyes. Naruto punched Kakashi in the head, but Kakashi dodged just in time and kicked Naruto in the side. Naruto was thrown into a tree, where he turned into smoke. Kakashi asked himself, what is he up to? He keeps sending clones, it's almost like he's. That's when it hit Kakashi like a ton of bricks. Kakashi yelled, oh shit, as he ran out of the forest. He's using seals, which means he could have Naruto walked up to him with his hands in a serpent seal. Naruto said, I set a trap. Naruto said, Fuinjutsu, Horin. Suddenly, from the 2 trees on Kakashi's right and left, an orange tendril with spiraling yellow patterns shot out to wrap around Kakashi and pin his arms to his side. Kakashi looked and saw that both tendrils were coming from tags on the tree's surfaces. Kakashi thought, damn it, how could I have fallen for such an obvious trap? Maybe if I took out one of the tags, it would free me. Kakashi managed to free one of his hands and threw an explosive kunai at one of the trees. When the kunai blew up and killed the tree, the orange tendrils were no longer there. Kakashi looked up and saw Naruto breathing hard on the ground. It looks like that seal needs a constant flow of chakra, and if that flow is interrupted even once, it drains you, he said. But Naruto was smiling at that point. Naruto said with a smile in his blue eyes, I never meant for you to stay still. Kakashi's eyes got bigger when he saw Sasuke and Sakura both reaching for one of the bells. Kakashi stopped everyone by saying, very good, but I'm a Jonin for a reason. Now I know not to go into the forest, Kakashi's clone said, and it blew up into a cloud of smoke. Naruto cursed, damn it, a Kage Bunshin. Naruto then reached down and took off the bandages on his right arm, revealing seals that could mean many things, but Sakura could tell that they meant static. If this keeps up, I'll have to tell them some of my secret Fuinjutsu, Naruto said. He then stood up on wobbly legs and looked toward the exit of the forest. Let's move. Kakashi looked at the time and saw that they had about 3 minutes left. They knew they had to work together, but let's see if they can get these bells, Kakashi said when he saw the 3 of them come out of the forest. What surprised Kakashi, though, was that Naruto's arms were covered in seals. Naruto stopped a few feet in front of Kakashi and asked, now what? Please tell me what you plan to do with those. Naruto smiled and made a tiger seal with his left hand while pointing his right finger at Kakashi. Did you know that there is always static electricity in the air? Naruto asked as Sasuke finished making a hand sign and Sakura took out a kunai. Kakashi's stomach was making him feel nervous. Kakashi said, okay, so what? This made Naruto smile. Naruto said, Fuinjutsu, Byakurai, and the seals on his right arm suddenly started to glow and crackle like lightning. Kakashi watched until Naruto's finger lit up with a blue light. Kakashi barely avoided a static bolt, but when he turned around, he saw Sasuke making a tiger seal with his hands. Sasuke said, with his fingers curled around his lips in a ring, Katen, Jikeki no Jutsu. Kakashi had to avoid a jutsu that could have killed him. But then he ran into Sakura, who swung her kunai at him. When I told them to come at me with the intent to kill, I didn't think they would take it so seriously, Kakashi thought as he grabbed Sakura by the arm and twisted it until she dropped the kunai, which he then grabbed and held to her throat. Kakashi watched as the static electricity on Naruto's arm started to make it glow. Now what are you going to do? Then Naruto did something that Kakashi hadn't thought of. Naruto turned around and shot Sasuke with the static bolt. Sasuke watched as the bolt got closer and closer until it hit his pack instead of him. Sasuke watched as the bolt went into his pack and then went away. Kakashi was about to say, "What was that?" when he heard a crackle. When he looked down, he saw that Sakura's pack was glowing. Before the static bolt came out of Sakura's pack and hit Kakashi in the stomach, all he could say was fuck. Kakashi let go of Sakura and the kunai at the same time. Kakashi was charged with electricity, but the bolt of static didn't go through him. Instead, it slowed him down as if it were tightening his muscles. Kakashi looked up and saw Naruto on his knee. His arm looked like it hurt, but he was still smiling. Sakura and Sasuke jumped at the bells, but the bell rang before they could touch them. Kakashi sighed as he felt his muscles loosening up. Kakashi waved for the group to follow him and said, "It looks like none of you have bells." Kakashi watched as the three of them went to their different posts and sat down. Even though I wasn't using my full power, they came close. Kakashi frowned and looked at Naruto. Naruto was still holding his right arm, but he was moving it a bit more. "Naruto, what did you do when you shot at Sasuke?" Sakura asked. Naruto didn't answer, but he reached out, grabbed Sakura's pack, and took out a burn tag. "Yesterday, when we were put on the same team, I wanted to make sure I could free Sakura or Sasuke if they were captured," Naruto said as he put the tag down and watched it slowly turn into ash and float away. Sasuke took off his backpack and dumped everything out, but all he got was a pile of ash. Kakashi said in a proud voice, "So you made sure your teammate could get out of a tight spot because of you. Where did you hear that?" Naruto's smile turned into a sad frown at that question. Naruto said in a sad voice, "I thought of it when Iruka died." When Kakashi saw that, he knew he had hit a very sensitive nerve. Kakashi said, "Well, I guess I'll just have to send you all back to the academy," as he turned around and gave them one last test. Let's see if them getting along was just a coincidence. Sasuke and Sakura both said, "No, we don't fail." Kakashi said in an angry tone, "Oh, and why not?" Sasuke said with a smirk, "Because the test wasn't to get the bells, it was to see if we could work together. Besides, who's ever heard of a two-person team?" Sakura said with a hint of pride. Kakashi said, "Well, then I guess I don't have a choice," as lightning flashed behind him. "You all pass," he said, and everyone cheered. Kakashi walked up to Naruto while he was wrapping his right arm in a bandage. "How is your arm?" asked Sasuke. Naruto smiled and looked up. "It's okay," Naruto said when he was done putting on the bandage. Kakashi nodded his head and looked at the other two. "It's just that if I use it too much, the static starts to tighten my muscles, but I'm fine." Kakashi asked Naruto, "What do you think of this team?" He was interested to hear what Naruto would say. Naruto looked at Sasuke and Sakura and said, "I'd say we're ready for anything." Kakashi laughed and patted Naruto on the back. He said, "How about we go down that road of life together and see the sights?" Kakashi's voice came through the earpiece and asked, "Do you see the target?" "Yes," Sasuke said. Naruto laughed and said, "Roger." "Yes," Sakura said. Kakashi said, "Then move in." Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke all ran out of the forest and at the target. The target ran away, but Naruto's cage Bunshin was able to catch him. The cat kept trying to claw at Naruto's clone, but the clone kept the beast of a cat away from anything important. The group said, "Target captured," as Naruto grabbed the cat and his clone disappeared. Kakashi said, "Check the collar to see if Tora is written on it." Naruto said, "Yes," as he looked, but he got too close and got scratched on the face. Naruto grabbed the cat and pulled it away. He was tempted to throw it, but then he remembered that he was on a mission. "Tora," screamed the daimyo's wife from the fire. She said, "Don't ever run away again," as she put money on Sarutobai's desk and squeezed the cat on the way out. Naruto felt bad for the cat as he cringed as he watched the cat's eyes dart around looking for a way out. Sarutobai smiled and told everyone, "Good job. Now, what other job do you want? We can paint, watch houses," or Sarutobai was about to say more, but Naruto cut her off. Naruto said, "None of the above." Sarutobai smiled at Naruto and said, "I'm glad we finally have a real mission." Sarutobai asked, "Oh, and why should you?" Naruto smiled and said, "Well, it's simple." Kakashi smacked Naruto on the head and said, "We are the best." Kakashi was looking at his orange book while Naruto glared at him. Sarutobai sighed as he looked at Kakashi and the other members of his team. Sarutobai asked, "Kakashi, what do you think?" Kakashi looked up, then down at his group. Sasuke did nothing but look around the room. Sakura smiled nervously as she watched Sasuke and Naruto was busy drawing a new idea for a seal. Kakashi smiled and said, "I'm glad they can handle a C-rank mission." His team looked at him with thanks in their eyes. Sarutobi smiled. "Okay, it just so happens that I have an easy little escort mission to the Nami no Kuni," Sarutobi said. And the door opened to reveal an old man with a straw hat and a bottle of sake. "This is Tazuna and this is the team that will be escorting you." Tazuna looked at the group and frowned. "This is it," Tazuna said in a degrading tone. "They're just a bunch of kids and the blonde one looks like he is the weakest." Naruto ended up getting a tick mark on his. "Hey, listen, Grandpa," Naruto shouted, getting Tazuna's complete attention. "I don't care if you're the person we are supposed to escort. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and I'm going to lead this village one day." Naruto looked at Tazuna and saw a flash of thoughtfulness pass through his eyes. "Uzumaki," Tazuna thought with confusion. "Why does that name sound so familiar?" Tazuna shook it off. "For now, I guess they'll do. Let's get going." With that, Tazuna turned around and began to walk away, but with his back turned the group never saw that he was still thinking about Naruto's last name. Naruto was walking along with Kakashi as Sasuke and Sakura stayed with Tazuna. Kakashi was reading from his book when a reflection caught his eye. He looked over at it and saw a puddle of water. "That's strange, it hasn't watered here for days," Kakashi thought as he slowly placed his book back into his pack. Suddenly 2 forms erupted out of the water. Both were wearing breathing masks and had tattered cloaks with 2 gauntlets chained together. The 2 individuals managed to wrap Kakashi in the barbed chain. "One down," Mizu said with a happy glee in his eyes. Then the chains tightened and cut Kakashi in 2. 3 to go. Gazu finished. The 2 turned around and were greeted with a roundhouse kick delivered by Naruto and Sasuke. The 2 ducked under the kicks and seemed to glide across the ground like ghosts. "They're fast," Sasuke thought as he looked at Naruto, who reached for his left arm bandages. "Whatever you have planned, Naruto, better do it quickly." Naruto ripped his bandages off, revealing a storage seal on his wrist that went up to his elbow. Naruto channeled Chakra into the seal and in a poof of smoke Naruto was holding a Fuma Shuriken. But instead of having straight points, the points were curved like fangs and was pure black. "Sasuke, tell me, can you give me an opening?" Naruto said as he began to spin the deadly-looking shuriken. "Please, Dobe, look who you are talking to," Sasuke said with a smirk. Sasuke charged at the brothers, who charged right at him. But before they got within a few inches of Sasuke, they jumped towards Sakura, who was holding a kunai in a protective stance in front of Tazuna. "Damn," Naruto cursed as he spun around on his heel and threw the shuriken above the brothers, which confused the group. Sasuke looked at Naruto and saw he had his fingers in a bird sign and knew what he was doing. Sasuke charged at the demon brothers, who neared ever closer to Sakura. But right before they raised their gauntlets, they heard something that made them look up. Fuinjutsu, Hisemarashi Renda. What they saw almost made them shit themselves. The shuriken that Naruto threw was now glowing with seals traced all along the blade's edges. But that wasn't what scared them, it was what came out of the shuriken seals. Various weapons, from spears to kunai and swords to daggers, came raining down at the 2 brothers, who were forced to dodge or become a living pincushion. Nizo looked at Naruto, who was smiling at him. "We need to take care of him," Nizo said to his brother, who nodded his head. The 2 began to run at Naruto. But that was when the brothers got a second scare. Katen, Gakakyu no Jutsu. They heard this and narrowly dodged a fireball that incinerated the trees right next to them. They looked at Sasuke and then at each other and nodded. Suddenly the chain connecting the 2 broke off Gazu, and Mizu went after different targets. Gazu charged at Naruto while Mizu began his approach towards Sasuke. Naruto began to place both of his fingers together into the cross sign when 2 dogs appeared out of nowhere and tackled Gazu to the ground and pinned him. Mizu looked over to his brother and was rewarded with a punch to the face, knocking him out. "Well done, everyone," Kakashi said as his dogs kept Gazu pinned to the ground. Kakashi walked over to the downed shinobi and knocked him out as well. When the dogs disappeared in smoke, Kakashi grabbed the 2 and tied them to a tree. "You know this aren't bandits, Tazuna." Kakashi looked at Tazuna, who seemed to be trying to shy away from Kakashi's eye. "Care to explain?" Tazuna looked up and sighed. Tazuna began to tell the story of Gato and how he invaded and took over his village. He told them that his village was weak on economy because of Gato, so the only ranking mission he could afford was a C rank. Kakashi nodded his head. "Well, with the introduction of the Demon Brothers, I'd say this mission just went from a C rank to an A rank. Usually when a client lies, we are to take him back to the village, and since this is a mission that..." But he was interrupted by Naruto. "We're not going to just quit, are we?" Naruto said as he stood right next to Tazuna after he resealed all the weapons back into the shuriken and put the shuriken back into the seal on his arm. Look, I never back down and I never give up, and that includes missions. Kakashi looked at the rest of his team. Do the rest of you feel this way? Kakashi asked. We agreed to take this mission, Sasuke said as he began to walk in the direction of Nami no Kuni. It might be hard, but we're ready, Sakura said as she turned around and walked towards Sasuke. Alright, we continue the mission, Kakashi said as he turned and saw that his team was already disappearing over a hill. Sasuke was walking when he heard a sound coming from the bushes, and then faster than anyone react, he threw a kunai into the bush. Suddenly a pure white rabbit jumped out of the bushes, scared for its life. Sakura managed to grab the rabbit and began to calm it down. You could have hurt the rabbit, Sasuke, Sakura said. Sasuke just shrugged his shoulders and continued to walk. Kakashi managed to catch up just in time to see the rabbit before Sakura sat it down to release it. A snow rabbit here in this weather, Kakashi thought, and then heard a whizzing sound and turned to see a giant sword spinning towards them. Get down. The group ducked just as the blade passed right above them and embedded into the tree. The group looked up and saw a man standing on the blade's hilt. He wore a scarf around the lower half of his face. He had camouflaged pants and wore no shirt. Zabuza Mamachi, Kakashi said with a glare as he stood up slowly. Kirigakure no Kijin. Kakashi Hadake, Zabuza said with a hint of amusement. Kopi Ninja no Kakashi. This is excellent. I can kill the bridge builder and one of Konoha's elite. Stay out of this fight, he is out of your league, Kakashi said as he lifted up his headband and revealed a Sharingan eye. Sasuke stayed at the eye in shock. He's not a Uchiha, is he? Sasuke thought as he watched Kakashi settle into a fighting position. Kakashi looked back at his team and smiled at them. Don't worry, I won't let him hurt any of you, Kakashi said this as he turned around and saw Zabuza holding his giant sword in his hands. Are you through with the sappy goodbye? Zabuza asked in a mocking tone. Kakashi's answer was charging at Zabuza with a kunai already drawn. Kakashi swung his kunai at Zabuza, who jumped above Kakashi and swung his sword at his head, but Kakashi threw his head back just in time to miss having a nasty haircut. Kakashi jumped back and delivered a kick to Zabuza's side which sent him back to where he was standing. But only this time he was laying on his back. Kakashi stopped himself and was about to charge when Zabuza put his hands together. Kirigakure no Jutsu, Zabuza said as a thick mist came rolling in and started to conceal him. Kakashi's eyes narrowed as he found it difficult to see even with his Sharingan. The mist is laced with chakra, Kakashi thought. This is going to get bad. That was when he heard Zabuza's voice. There is so many places to kill you at, Zabuza said. There is just so many I don't know what to hit. That was when Kakashi knew where he was going to strike. The bridge builder, Kakashi thought as he ran towards the location of Naruto and the rest of the team. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were in a semicircle around Tazuna when Zabuza appeared right in the middle of them with his sword already held in a striking position. Zabuza saw Kakashi appear and smiled at him. Sorry, but you. Zabuza stopped when a bunch of cage bunchins landed on him in the form of Naruto. Lose, Naruto said, finishing Zabuza's sentence. Naruto had his right arm up and on his palm he was holding a red tag. Zabuza looked at Tazuna, Sakura, and Sasuke and watched as they disappeared into smoke. Fuinjutsu, Shaokyaku. Zabuza's eyes widened when he saw a jet of fire launch at him, incinerating the clones, but when the blaze died there was nothing but a wet spot on the ground. Naruto gritted his teeth as he saw that it wasn't the real Zabuza. Naruto looked into the woods and saw Sasuke and Sakura coming out of the forest with Tazuna close by. Good work, Naruto, Kakashi said, proud at his student. Now Sasuke, Sakura, and... He never finished his sentence as Naruto was grabbed by a water-like whip and swung into several trees until he landed almost 3 feet away from Zabuza's blade tip. Naruto. Kakashi tried to get over to Naruto, but was stopped when several water clones came out of the woods and water around them. Sorry, but I have some business with the runt, Zabuza said. But I'm sure my clones can keep you company. They may only have 1/10 of my strength, but I'm sure if I have a small army attacking you that it won't make much of a difference. Damn it, Kakashi thought as he pulled out his kunai and looked at Naruto, who gave him a thumbs up. He must have been making clones in order to prepare for us, but if that is the case then he should be almost out of chakra. That was when he noticed a small bag laying on the ground. Soldier pills, I have to get to Naruto and fast. Zabuza chuckled as he watched his clones begin the attack. Now then, where were we, runt? Zabuza said, but Naruto's answer was a mumble. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Are you so scared that you can't even talk right? That was when Naruto screamed out his answer. My name is not Runt. Naruto screamed. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Zabuza's eyes widened at the sound of Naruto's last name. No, he can't be an Uzumaki, Zabuza thought. The Uzumakis were all wiped out long ago. Zabuza was so busy with his thoughts he didn't notice as Naruto removed his bandages around both of his arms and neck, revealing seals all over them. Zabuza noticed the seals and gritted his teeth. Damn it, he is an Uzumaki. Zabuza jumped back away from Naruto and brought his sword up, pointing it up at Naruto. Sorry kid, if I let you live you could become a big problem for my mission. That was when Zabuza charged, but noticed as Naruto's right arm began to glow and crackle like electricity. Fuinjutsu Byakurai. Naruto stated quite plainly and shot out a static bolt that nailed Zabuza on his left arm, numbing it. So the seal on his right arm sucks in static electricity and shoots it out in a bolt, paralyzing anything that it hits. Zabuza thought, analyzing Naruto's seals. His left arm has a storage seal that contains a giant shuriken that has a lot of other different weapons sealed in it. So my first target should be to immobilize that right arm of his. Zabuza looked at his left arm and felt his feeling coming back. Zabuza charged and swung his sword, but Naruto put some chakra into his storage seal and out popped out his giant shuriken. Zabuza's blade hit the shuriken and forced Naruto tumbling backwards, but Naruto quickly regained his footing and threw the massive blade at Zabuza, who dodged to the left and swung his sword with enough force to snap the spinning blade in two. Zabuza expected to see the shuriken cut in two, but it disappeared and revealed a kage bunshin that disappeared in smoke. He turned a kage bunshin into a real shuriken. Zabuza thought with amazement. This kid is a goldmine. If he was in Kirigakure I would have took him with me. Zabuza snapped out of his trance when he saw Naruto place his hands together, palms facing Zabuza. That was when Zabuza noticed the seals on Naruto's palms, so he can only use that seal whenever he puts his palms together. That was when Zabuza noticed that the wind around him was being pulled towards Naruto. Oh, this could be bad. I only have enough chakra for this one, Naruto thought as he felt his body began to give on him. I can't miss. Fuinjutsu-tenran. Naruto shouted this out as a ball of spinning wind appeared in his hands. Zabuza's eyes widened when the ball expanded and became a raging tornado-shaped drill. Zabuza watched as the drill-shaped tornado began to rip chunks of the ground off. Fuck me, Zabuza thought as he ran. He jumped onto the water and kept running. But when he turned around he saw Naruto straining himself, putting more chakra into his jutsu. The kid is going to kill himself. That was when the tornado split into two and flew towards Zabuza. Zabuza watched as the two twister came closer and closer, but just when they were going to slice him apart they disintegrated. Zabuza with wide eyes looked towards Naruto and found him to be on one knee sucking a lung full of air while blood gently dripped from his mouth. I need to end this silly game right now, Zabuza said. He placed his hands together and the mist came rolling back in. Naruto looked around him looking for Zabuza, but he didn't notice Zabuza slowly emerging from the mist just like a demon. Sorry kid, nothing personal. Naruto turned his head just in time to see Zabuza swing his massive sword at him. Kakashi finally finished the last clone and saw the mist Zabuza made fade slightly, and he saw a sight that made him panic. Zabuza was swinging his sword at the only blind spot every creature had, the neck. Naruto. Kakashi and the rest of his team screamed out. Cling. Zabuza was amazed as a purple hexagon-shaped barrier appeared behind Naruto to protect him from his attack. Naruto jumped away from Zabuza at this chance, but as soon as his feet hit the ground, he fell to one knee. When Naruto looked at Zabuza, Zabuza saw what was going on. The seal around Naruto's throat had grown and was now up to his eyes, but the seal started to fall off Naruto's face, and the barrier broke like glass. Zabuza said, "That is a cool seal you have there, kid. But it looks like you can only do it once." Naruto muttered and tried to stand up again, but fell again. Naruto said, "You're right. That seal is a one-time deal. I can only use it once before it falls apart like paper and I have to draw a new one." Zabuza laughed and started walking toward Naruto. With each step, Naruto felt something he had never felt before, fear for his life. Each step Zabuza took made Naruto feel like he was getting closer and closer to death. Naruto saw his whole life flash before his eyes for the first time. What he saw made the young blonde sad. Naruto thought, maybe this is for the best. Only a few people care about me, and one of them died because of me. Maybe I should just accept it. Then he thought about how Hinata came to see him every day. She always checked on Naruto to see if he needed anything, and when he said he was fine, she stayed behind to make sure. He thought about how much Team 7 cared for him, and he didn't understand why he was remembering this. It felt like his brain was trying to contradict itself. Naruto was no longer sure he wanted to die all of a sudden. Before Zabuza could even lift his sword, two fireballs and a barrage of kunais with explosive tags on them pushed him back. When Naruto looked up, his whole team was in a defensive stance in front of him, and Tazuna was standing next to him with what looked like a mallet. What are you? Naruto was able to say this as he tried to stand up by putting weight on his leg. But he fell and Tazuna caught him. Kakashi told Naruto, because we're a team, and we help each other, and Sakura and Sasuke nodded. Naruto closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. Kakashi said to Zabuza in a threatening way, "You're going to pay for what you did to him." Zabuza laughed at Kakashi. Zabuza laughed at them when they said, "I didn't do anything. It's just that his clan has always been full of reckless people." When he saw how confused Team 7 looked, he decided he might as well make fun of them as he sent the signal to the person in the trees. "You don't know anything about him, do you? Well, let me tell you a little secret." Zabuza was about to tell Team 7 the secret, but 3 senbonats came out of nowhere and hit him right in the back of his neck. Team 7 was shocked as they looked at the strange senbons and Zabuza fell to the ground in a messy heap. Before anyone could regain control, a ninja in a hunter nin mask showed up next to Zabuza's body. He said, "Thank you," in a strangely female voice. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had a chance," he said, picking up Zabuza's lifeless body and making a tiger sign. "Before I leave, I think you should check on your friend. He doesn't look too good," he told them as a puff of smoke took him away. When Tazuna called out to Team 7, they were shocked and shook. Tazuna looked at Naruto, who was looking a little pale, and said, "He's sweating and shaking. I don't think that's a good sign." As he walked over to Naruto, Kakashi thought, "Damn, he used too much chakra in that fight." Kakashi told the others he's got a lot of chakra burnout as he forced Naruto's mouth open and shoved some soldier pills in. But he was thinking about what went wrong. "I thought the Kyuubi would stop something like this, but I guess Naruto was using the seals too much. I think the seals are using chakra too quickly for him or the seal that controls Kyuubi's chakra to be able to balance it. Is he going to be okay, Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura asked in a scared voice as she looked at Naruto lying on the ground helpless. Kakashi looked up at her and smiled with his eyes. Kakashi said, "Yeah, he should be fine." Naruto is always full of energy, but what he was really thinking was something else. Kakashi said to himself in a soft voice that only he could hear, "But if he keeps doing this, I'm afraid he might end up killing himself with these seals." Sasuke had a confused look on his face as he looked at Naruto, and then back at Kakashi. Sasuke asked, "What did Zabuza mean when he said that people from Naruto's clan were always careless?" Kakashi lied when he said, "I don't know. I've never heard of an Uzumaki clan." It wasn't a complete lie, though. Kakashi had heard of a powerful clan that was almost extinct because there were so few or no members left, but he didn't know much about them or where they came from. Tazuna went into the forest and brought back 2 long pieces of wood and some vines. Tazuna said, "We could make a stretcher for him," which got a nod from Kakashi. When the stretcher was done, Kakashi put Naruto on it and started walking down the path to the water as Tazuna, Sasuke, and Sakura carried it. As Kakashi looked at Naruto's limp body, he thought, "Hang in there, Naruto. We'll get you to a place where you can rest." Zabuza woke up in his bed, where Haku was taking care of his wounds. Haku saw that Zabuza was awake because his breathing had changed. Haku said Zabuza-sama in a very respectful way. Zabuza grunted and turned away when asked, "How are you feeling?" Gato walked in with 2 sword-carrying bodyguards just a few seconds after Zabuza woke up. Gato laughed as he walked over to Zabuza and said, "Well, I couldn't believe it until I saw it for myself. It looks like what I heard is true." Gato laughed and reached out to Zabuza, saying, "The great Zabuza was beaten by little kids." But a firm hand took hold of his hand. Gato looked to see who had the hand, and when he did, Haku was staring at him. Haku told him firmly, "You will not put your dirty hands on him," as he gave Gato's arm a tight squeeze and broke a few bones in the process. Gato screamed, "Ahhh," in pain and pulled his hurt arm away from Haku. "Just make sure it doesn't happen again, Zabuza," Gato said. Then he turned on his heel, and the 3 of them slammed the door behind them as they left. Haku got up and started walking to the window while carrying a basket. Zabuza asked Haku, "Where are you going?" As he looked at him with a questioning look, Haku paused for a moment before telling Zabuza, "We're out of herbs. I need to go get more." Zabuza grabbed Haku's clothes, though, before he could even take 2 steps. Zabuza said, "Sit down. I need to tell you about that blonde kid I fought," and as Haku tried to stop him, he stood up. "My wounds can wait. This is a lot more important," he said, and then he started telling Haku about Naruto and his clan. When Naruto opened his eyes, he could feel himself being rocked back and forth gently. He slowly got up and felt the blankets that were around him slide off. Naruto moaned, "What happened?" Sakura hit him with a rock-hard punch. "Oh, why did you do that?" he yelled. Sakura told him, "That was just to make us worry, you knucklehead," as Kakashi looked behind him to see what was going on. When Kakashi saw that Naruto had woken up, he carefully steered the small boat towards Naruto. Kakashi asked, "Naruto, how do you feel?" in a serious tone. As soon as Naruto said, "I'm fine, I just have a headache," he leaned over the boat and threw up what little food he had left in his stomach. "Okay, forget that, I don't feel very good. It's normal to feel sick after being so chakra drained," Kakashi told Naruto as he held up 3 fingers and spoke in a worried tone. Kakashi asked, "How many fingers am I putting up?" As Naruto tried to look at the hand, he looked confused. Naruto lay back down to try to ease the pain in his stomach and said, 3. "Okay, you should be fine. Just take it easy for today, okay? Nothing too stressful," Kakashi said to Naruto with a perverted smile as he went back to his book. Naruto muttered, "Yeah, this would be so much fun," as they got closer to land. He didn't know what was waiting for them there. Tazuna stayed when the boat hit the dock and helped Naruto out of the boat. When Naruto's feet hit the ground, his legs shook, and he grabbed the boat to steady himself. Naruto yelled, "Damn it," when he finally understood what it meant to be as weak as a helpless kitten. Tazuna helped Naruto get back on his feet, and he stayed near him in case he fell again. "Are you going to be all right, kid?" asked Tazuna in a worried voice. "Yeah, I'll be fine, old man," Naruto said, and he couldn't help but laugh when he saw Tazuna raise an eyebrow at the word old man. "Let's just get to my house before I decide to leave you to walk by yourself," Tazuna said to Naruto with a little bit of anger in his voice. He was upset that Naruto had said something about his age. When the boat hit the dock, Tazuna stayed and helped Naruto out of the boat. Naruto almost fell when his feet hit the ground. "Damn it," Naruto cursed as he finally felt what it meant to be as weak as a defenseless kitten. Tazuna helped Naruto get back on his feet, but he stayed close in case Naruto fell again. "Are you going to be alright, kid?" Tazuna asked with a carrying voice. "Yeah, I'll be fine, old man," Naruto said and chuckled as he saw Tazuna's eyebrow twitch. "Let's just get to my house before I force you to walk without any support," Tazuna said with a little bit of anger in his voice. "Tsunami, Inari," Tazuna yelled out as he entered his home. When she saw Tazuna around the corner, a young woman ran up to him and gave him a big hug. "Father, I was worried. I thought Gato would do whatever it took to get rid of you," Tsunami said with a little fear in her eyes. "I'm fine thanks to this group." He gestured at the team behind him. "This is Tsunami and this." He looked around for Inari when he came down the steps. "Is Inari? A pleasure to meet you. I'm Kakashi Hadake," Kakashi said and pointed to his students as he named them off. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki. When Tsunami heard Naruto's last name, her eyes got big, but it was gone as soon as it came. But Naruto noticed, and he started to wonder why people acted that way when they heard his name. "Okay, what's wrong with my last name?" Naruto asked, clearly annoyed by everyone looking at him as though he had grown another limb or something. "I'm sorry, I just thought I heard that name before." Tsunami shook her head slightly and apologized with a meek smile. "I'll go make dinner." "Father, why don't you come with me? I have something to show you." Tazuna seemed confused, but he nonetheless followed Tsunami's lead. As soon as the two were out of the earshot of the other four, Tsunami spun on her heel and faced her father. "Do you realize who he is?" Tsunami asked with an apprehensive smile. "Yes, he's the kid that kept me safe." Tazuna was interrupted by Tsunami bonking him in the head with a wooden spoon. "No," Tsunami sighed as she rolled her eyes. "You used to tell me stories about a certain hidden village that existed here, and you told me many stories especially pertaining to a certain powerful clan that basically ruled the village." Tsunami told her father in hopes of making her father remember, but he still looked confused. Tsunami sighed deeply and took her father's hand. She led her father to a locked shelf and opened the lock, taking out a rather thick book and shoved it into his stomach with all her might. "Maybe this will refresh your memory." Tazuna looked at the book and saw the spiral, and then the memories of a certain clan flooded back into his mind. Tazuna whispered to himself as he looked at Naruto through a crack in the wall. "I don't believe it. I can't believe it." Then, Tazuna remembered all the weird fuinjutsu that Naruto pulled off, and his face went frozen as he finally came to terms with the realization. "He is a member of the Uzumaki clan," her father finally said, and Tsunami rolled her eyes again. "I can't believe you didn't figure it out when he told his name," Tsunami said as she looked at Naruto. "What should we do?" Tazuna thought about it for a moment. "Well, we could show him that old building that nobody can get into," Tazuna suggested, to which Tsunami nodded. Holding the thick book in one hand, Tazuna walked back into the room where everybody else were seated. He walked over to Naruto, who was tearing into his food with ferocity, and dropped the heavy book on Naruto's lap when Naruto stopped eating to catch his breath. What the hell was that for? Naruto screamed out after recovering from the initial shock of having a book dropped on him. We need to take a walk, Tazuna said with sudden seriousness, catching everyone else's attention. Kakashi asked with a suspicious tone, and why? Because if my guess is right, we're looking at the last member of one of the strongest clans here, Tazuna said as he took Naruto by the wrist and led him gently to the door. Tsunami and Inari, who are on Naruto's team, also went after them. Outside, everyone was staring as the group walked over to the oldest building that stood in the middle of town. For years, nobody could enter the place, many have tried and all have failed. Compared to the other buildings, this one looked brand new. The only thing wrong with it was a few boards missing from certain places, and the color began to fade. What's going on, Tazuna? An old man asked from his chair. I don't know, but something tells me we have the person we've been looking for these past years, Tazuna stated. Everyone encircled Naruto, watching him with curiosity. Naruto found himself staring at the old building and almost felt relaxed despite the fact that half the village was staring at him. Go ahead, try and open the door. Naruto somehow had a feeling that he shouldn't open the door, but at the same time, he felt himself being pulled ever so slowly towards the door until he was standing in front of it. When Naruto turned around, he saw that everyone was looking at him while holding their breath. Naruto sucked in his breath and reached for the door handle. As soon as Naruto's hand touched the doorknob, black lines ran up his body, and he gritted his teeth in pain. Kakashi tried to get to Naruto while Naruto was on his knees from pain, but he couldn't get close enough because so many villagers were around him. Then it was over as quickly as it had begun. The lines receded and there was a loud click that made everyone's heart stop for a moment. The crowd went silent all of a sudden, and Naruto thought he heard a needle fall to the ground. Naruto stood up and gave the door a slight push. The door was easy to open, and that was enough for the people in the village. Someone in the village shouted, "The Uzumaki clan lives again." Cheers broke out, but Naruto didn't care as he peered into the building to see what was inside. The entire area was covered in dust and grime, but that wasn't what caught Naruto's eyes. It was the spirals that were all over the place. Naruto walked into the house, and the people outside waited for him to come out. Looking around the house, Naruto noticed it looked as though it was ransacked years ago. Things were scattered everywhere, and occasionally, Naruto found a slashed piece of cloth or a cracked mirror with rusty red stains. Naruto fell down and started hitting the ground with his fists. Every time I get so close to knowing who I am, it's taken away, Naruto thought as tears trailed down his whiskered cheek. He gave the floor one last hit and suddenly the floor opened up, revealing a staircase. Naruto looked down the dark tunnel and decided to take a look. He walked down the stairs and found it to be an underground shrine. On the walls were pictures covered in dust. Naruto brushed the dirt off and found himself staring at a grumpy-looking man wearing samurai armor and two swords with curved hilts staring at him. He had a square beard and long hair. Naruto looked at the name tag and saw the name. It read, Arashi Uzumaki Shodai Gufukage. Naruto looked down and saw only one more picture unfinished, but from what he could see was a man with hair and a reed beard with a heartwarming smile. Naruto looked further down the tunnel and walked down. He ended up in a wide room filled with what appeared to be empty except for two things, a carefully folded note and a scroll. Naruto reached down and carefully grabbed the two objects. They also shot black lines at Naruto just like the doorknob did. Naruto gritted his teeth and waited patiently until the lines went away again. After the black lines receded, Naruto carefully observed the note and found it to be blood-stained. Naruto carefully unfolded the note and started to read it. Greetings Uzumaki, my name is Yuzusho Uzumaki Nidam Gufukage of Uzushiogakure in the Uzu no Kuni. I do not have long left, but here it goes. You may be the final Uzumaki. Listen, I know you are most likely scared, but listen. Everything that once belonged to the Uzumaki is left to you, and I want you to know that this is the birthplace of the Uzumaki clan. In the scroll, release the storage seal and you will find a book on our Fuinjutsu. We used to have many books on our Fuinjutsu, but unfortunately, before I could get to it, some of it was burned. I only managed to save just enough to give you one of our Fuinjutsu, so use it wisely. Please take care and never let your guard down even for a second. The enemy of the Uzumaki are many, and losing too much blood I won't be able to keep writing. I just want you to know that your family will always be with you no matter where you are. I've got to go. They are looking for me, but just remember, you are always being watched. Naruto looked at the note one last time before he gently folded it up and placed it in his pocket. He then reached down and picked up the book and scroll as though they were treasure. Naruto exited the room, but not before he gave it one last look before he left. Naruto squinted his eyes against the bright sunlight as he walked out of the old house. As soon as his foot stepped outside, he was surrounded by various villagers who kept trying to have a feel of Naruto and shake his hand. Naruto looked around and found his team standing with Tazuna and his daughter. Naruto approached them while trying his best to avoid the villagers and smiled. "So how do you feel?" Tazuna asked with a returning smile. "I feel at home," Naruto said, and with those little words Naruto was lifted into the air as the people began to cheer for the Uzumaki clan. After a while, Naruto managed to get away from the villagers by saying he needed time to adjust to the situation. Naruto looked at the sky and started walking, not paying any attention to where he was going until he tripped over someone. As he got up and looked at who he tripped over, Naruto found himself staring at a beautiful girl. "I'm sorry, I should have watched where I was going," Naruto said. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki." The girl's eyes widened as she looked at Naruto and a look of surprise flitted across her eyes, but they were gone as fast as it came. "My name is Haku," Haku said, chuckling as he knew what Naruto thought he was. "And I'm a guy." This shocked Naruto beyond everything. "So what are you doing out here?" As he chuckled at Naruto's antics. As Naruto got over his shock, he said, trying to think, "I just found out that my clan came from a place nearby." Haku feigned shock. Haku said, "Really? What clan is that?" "I'm afraid I can't say." Naruto leaned back and laid on the soft grass. "Let me guess." Haku looked at Naruto. "You are from the Uzumaki clan." Naruto bolted straight to his feet and looked at Haku with a little bit of a glare, remembering what Uzushio said in his note. "Don't trust anyone. Uzumakis have many enemies." Haku told him, "Don't worry, I have no problems with the Uzumaki clan." Naruto cautiously lowered himself back to the ground and looked at Haku, suspicion still visible on his obvious wariness. Haku decided to try and get to know Naruto better. Haku asked Naruto, "Tell me, what do you want to be when you grow up, and is there anything you want to protect?" Haku watched as Naruto struggled to come up with an answer. After a couple minutes, Naruto finally spoke up. "Well, I want to be Hokage," Naruto said with a smile. "I want to protect a lot of things, but the most important thing to me is my friends." "What about you?" Naruto asked. Haku watched as he saw the determination in Naruto's eyes. He came to the conclusion that Naruto would probably do anything for his friends. Haku stared into the trees as he thought over his answer. Haku said with a soft smile, "Well, there's one person I want to protect, and my dream is to help him make his dream come true." Naruto nodded his head at Haku's answer. "What are you doing out here?" Naruto asked with a smile. "I'm picking herbs to help my precious person get better," Haku said as he resumed looking around for the herbs he needed. "Maybe I can help," said Naruto while Haku was busy. Haku turned to him, thought about it, then nodded his head. Haku held out the herb he was looking for and Naruto created 3 clones to go looking for the herbs. In just a few minutes, Haku's basket was full. "Thank you, Naruto," Haku told Naruto with a polite bow and turned around and left the area. Naruto turned around and began to walk back to the village. He couldn't help but smile as he walked into the village. Naruto looked around the place and saw that everyone was smiling at him. The people here barely had anything, and yet they were happy to try and give Naruto what little bit they had. Naruto politely refused, having noticed that they needed it more. Sakura and Kakashi were truly happy that Naruto had found his clan's old home. Sasuke, on the other hand, kept up his emotionless face, but every now and then his eyes would harden when he heard someone praising Naruto. Sasuke just didn't understand why Naruto was so popular when he didn't do a thing. Ever since the villagers found out that Naruto is actually the sole survivor of once powerful clan, people constantly swarmed around him. Naruto was always seen wearing a smile since he came back from his old house, and he seemed to radiate happiness as the villagers, both young and old, surrounded him, eager to talk to the lone survivor of legendary clan. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura didn't have anything to do, so Kakashi had decided at that moment to give everyone training on chakra control. Instantly, Naruto's happy smile turned into a slight frown. "Why do we need this?" Naruto asked in a bored tone. "Because it will help you control your chakra and help you not die just from overusing it." The response made Naruto look at the ground with a resentful pout. Since the time he ran out of chakra, Kakashi had been keeping a close eye on him. Whenever Naruto went to make a new seal and try it out, Kakashi was right there watching. Once Naruto got annoyed, so he asked Kakashi why he was watching him, and the answer he got was simple. "I don't want you to get hurt," came the monotone response. "Now, what I want you guys to do is to climb a tree." Everyone looked at Kakashi as though they thought he was out of his mind or something. Naruto and Sasuke laughed at how easy the task looked. "But without using your hands." This wiped the smirk off both their faces. "What? That's not possible," Naruto complained loudly. With a sigh, Kakashi began to channel chakra into his feet. Kakashi walked towards a nearby tree, and when his face was only a foot away from the bark, he put one foot on the tree and proceeded to walk up the bark. What were you saying, Naruto? Kakashi raised his eyebrow at Naruto. Now what you need to do is put chakra onto the soles of your feet and begin to walk up the tree. You must keep your chakra leveled, for if you put too much, you'll break through the tree and fall. Too little and you won't grip to the tree and fall. Also, if you feel as though you are about to fall while walking up the tree, mark where you were with the kunai. Kakashi watched as the group looked at each other and back at the tree. The three put chakra into their feet and ran at the tree. Naruto was the first to fall because he didn't put enough chakra into his feet. Sasuke then fell because he put too much chakra into his feet and started to crack the bark. This is easy. A voice came from the tree. They looked up and saw Sakura sitting high on a branch with a smile. Well, it appears that the only girl in this entire team has the best chakra control, Kakashi stated with a smile. He looked and saw determination in both Naruto and Sasuke's eyes. Naruto and Sasuke ran toward the tree again, and they did get a little farther up this time, but still not enough. Sasuke fell when he accidentally let his chakra slip, and Kakashi wasn't surprised. But the way Naruto fell made Kakashi feel a bit queasy. As soon as Naruto took his next step, the entire tree snapped in half without warning. Naruto fell and banged his head on the ground. As Naruto looked up after shaking his head, he saw the top half of the tree was falling towards him. Naruto reached up for his neck bandages, but before his fingers could touch the end of them, the tree tackled out of the way by a very large bulldog. Naruto laid his head on the ground and sighed in relief as Kakashi walked over. How about you try not to break the tree in half? Kakashi chuckled humorously as he helped his student up. Naruto just mumbled and went to another tree. Kakashi watched as Naruto continued the tree exercise once again, and despite the fact that he kept on falling, he was slowly improving. Kakashi decided to go lean on a tree and read his book as he watched his students train. Sakura finally stopped for rest after 3 climbs. Sasuke and Naruto were still repeating the cycle of attempting to climb and falling. Sakura looked at Sasuke and opened her mouth to say something, but stopped when she noticed the look he gave her. It wasn't a cold look, but it clearly told her that he didn't need nor want her help. Naruto was lying on the ground looking up at the tree and noticed a pattern forming. Naruto thought, I go 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, as he bit his lip and thought about what he hadn't tried yet. He then remembered how Sakura got up the tree so easily. Naruto got up and looked around for a certain pink-haired kunoichi. Sakura was bored and looking at the ground when a shadow covered the sun. Naruto was standing above her with a nervous smile. Hey Sakura, can you help me? Sakura opened her mouth to tell Naruto no, but then she realized he actually asked her for help. He wants my help, Sakura thought. Kakashi saw this and smiled behind his mask. Alright, Naruto, I'll help you. As Kakashi turned back to his book, he thought, it looks like he's finally getting it. Naruto smiled as Sakura finally explained what he was doing wrong and how he could fix it. He approached the tree and ran up it once, this time applying what Sakura taught him. He found himself climbing almost as high as Sasuke before he slipped and started to fall. But Naruto gave a quick twist of his body, and he gracefully landed on the ground. Tsunami's voice rang through the forest, saying, dinner is ready. As they walked toward the house, that got everyone's attention. Everyone sat at the table and watched an amused expression as the uzumaki devoured his meal as though he hadn't eaten in days. Sakura finally had enough and punched Naruto on his head. What was that for? Came the response. You're acting like an animal, she said with a face. Slow down, will you? Sorry, I can't. I have to hurry and finish the tree climbing exercise. Naruto said this as he threw his head into the bowl, and the group around the table thought they could see the food trying to escape Naruto's wrath. Sakura just shook her head in amusement and Kakashi smiled under his mask. Then a voice spoke up. Take a look at yourself, Inari said, his voice a little bit angry. Naruto looked up from his food. He wiped the food stains from his mouth with a napkin and his goofy expression suddenly subsided. Inari continued as though he hasn't noticed anything. You call yourself ninja, but you are nothing but a joke. You can't defeat a man like Gato. He's just going to hire stronger people to take care of you. Even if you're from a clan, you can't win. So why don't? That was when Naruto had enough. His face got harder, and his clear eyes started to shine with a steely light. Naruto's voice was emotionless as he said, look at yourself crying like a baby. You think you have it rough. I had to live my life in fear, looking behind me every few seconds thinking someone was going to attack me. I won't sugarcoat it. You had it pretty bad, but you had a family to help you through the tough times. Me, I had no one but myself. Then when I finally met someone and found out that he cared about me, He was killed in front of my very eyes. So don't come crying to me about how bad you had it, because I live my life in hell every day. If you have a problem with your life, then do something about it. Don't just sit there and cry. With that, Naruto got up from the table and walked toward the door, leaving crying Inari behind. Naruto, you went too far, Sakura said, standing up. Sakura started to say more, but when Naruto turned around, she stopped. The light in Naruto's eyes seemed to have gone away. Without responding, he just walked out the door and closed it, leaving the room in an uncomfortable silence. Inari got up and left for the porch, and with Kakashi following him. You know what Naruto said, and there was his way of his motivational speech. Kakashi told the crying Inari as he sat down. Why? Inari asked with a slight whimper. Why does he try so hard? Asked the Jonin. This made the Jonin sigh. Kakashi told him, it's just who he is. In our village, people treat him so badly that he had to decide whether to keep letting it happen or to do something about it. He chose to do something about it, and he hasn't looked back since. In all the time I've known him, I've only seen him cry once, when a very good friend of his died, but that only made him stronger. Please don't make Naruto the bad guy. Whatever he said it to help. Inari stopped crying and gave Kakashi a small smile as she looked at him. At that moment, Kakashi stood up and watched as Inari walked away from him and toward his home. Naruto was in the forest drawing new tags to replace the ones he had lost when he heard something behind him. When he looked, he saw Inari giving him an embarrassed look. The shy voice said, "Look, I'm sorry for what I said." Naruto said in a calm voice, "You don't need to apologize. Let's just move on." Inari nodded and looked over Naruto's shoulder to see what he was up to. "What are you doing?" Inari asked, confused at what Naruto was doing. "I'm trying to figure out how to extend the use of a certain barrier seal I have," Naruto stated before putting everything away into a scroll. "Come on, let's go and get something to eat." Inari just smiled and started walking back home with Naruto beside him. Naruto was sitting looking at the tree and saw that he was almost at the top. When he woke up, he found that his team left him to take care of Tazuna's home in case someone tried anything to hurt them. Naruto decided to spend his time on the tree exercise and kept a cage bunchin at home in case something went wrong. Naruto sat up when all of the clone's memories hit him at once. Damn, Naruto cursed as he ran for the house. "Look, this is nothing personal, but Gato doesn't want the bridge finished," Waraji said as he held his sword to Inari's throat. "Now, why don't you just come along and cooperate with us, little girl?" Tsunami nervously looked at the two swordsmen and nodded her head. Zori walked forward to secure her, but was forced to dodge when a giant shuriken came sailing at him. When he looked, he saw a dark shape against the bright sun. Zori yelled, "Who the fuck are you?" "Me, I'm nobody," the voice said in a lifeless tone. Zori's eyes widened when he was zapped in the chest with a static bolt. Waraji tried to kill Inari by swinging his sword at him, but the blade never hit. Inari saw a small blue shield appear in front of him, and the sword bounced off the shield without hurting him. "Did you really think I was going to leave these two undefended? Before I left, I put 2 of my barrier seals on them," a deadened voice quietly told them. Waraji turned around just in time to receive a roundhouse kick hitting him directly in the face. Tsunami smiled as she looked at Naruto, but she stopped smiling when she saw that Naruto's usual silly look was gone and a serious one had taken its place. Naruto put his hands together and created 2 cage bunchins. "Get the swordsmen out of here and tie them up," he told the clones, and they nodded and did as he said. When Naruto could no longer see the 4, he broke his serious face with a smile, and looked at both Inari and Tsunami. "Are both of you okay?" Inari and Tsunami nodded in response. "Good. Listen, I'm going to go to the bridge. I think the others are going to need some help. I'm leaving 4 clones here for your protection, okay?" Naruto created 2 more clones and ran towards the bridge. Work was going well on the bridge until a thick fog started to roll in. When the workers saw that something wasn't right, they ran for cover. Kakashi told Sakura and Sasuke, "This isn't normal mist." He told the 2 to make a circle around Tazuna and protect him. Then, out of the thick fog, 2 people could be seen. Zabuza looked at the group in front of him and said, "We meet again, Kakashi. But where is the blonde runt?" Zabuza asked in a taunting voice. Kakashi didn't answer and only lifted up his headband, revealing his Sharingan. "Fine, I guess I'll have to settle for you then," said Zabuza as he pulled out his huge sword and stabbed it into the bridge. "Haku, watch out for the other people." Haku gave a quick nod. Then Zabuza saw that Sasuke was shaking just a little bit. "Look at him, he's terrified to death." "No, I'm just excited. I've been bored all day," Sasuke said with a sneer as he charged Haku. Haku did the same thing. Both of them threw a punch that hit the other person. Sasuke smiled, but when Haku grabbed his arm, he frowned. Then Haku started doing a series of one-handed seals, which made Kakashi nervous. "I'm sorry, but Zabuza-sama wants you to leave." Haku said calmly as he stamped on the ground and sent water flying into the air. Suten, Sensatsu Suisho. Soon, the water around Sasuke turned into senbons and began to fly at him. An explosion of water followed as Haku jumped out of his own jutsu's range. Haku watched as the water slowly fell back down to the ground. Before he could do anything, Sasuke kicked him in the side of the face. Zabuza thought, "He's fast," as he fought Kakashi and caught a glimpse of Sasuke out of the corner of his eye. He brought his sword down to try to cut Sasuke in half, but Kakashi used his kunai to stop the blade. Kakashi said calmly to Zabuza, "I thought you were going to go after me." In response, Zabuza gave him a hard look. "Fine. If you want to die that badly, I'll gladly send you to hell," Zabuza said as he pushed Kakashi back with his blade. Sasuke watched as Haku got up and saw Haku coldly staring at him through his mask. "You're pretty fast, Uchiha," Haku stated, making Sasuke smile a little wider. "So you know of the Uchiha clan?" Sasuke asked in more of a statement than a question. "Yes, Zabuza-sama told me to study on different clan symbols and what they look like," Haku calmly told him. "The Uchiha clan always wears that red paper fan on the back of their shirt, and they always have black eyes and black hair." Haku brought his hands up into a tiger seal. "But even your power cannot stop mine. Hayatan Makayo Hayosho." The area was then transformed into a dome containing 21 mirrors. Sasuke watched as Haku stepped backwards and sank into one of the mirrors, and his image appeared on every mirror. "This is my ultimate technique, you cannot escape." A voice called out from all directions, echoing all over the place. Sasuke began to form hand signs and blew out a giant fireball that hit one of the mirrors square on. But when the steam stopped coming from the mirror, Sasuke noticed that the mirror didn't even melt it a little bit. "Was that your best shot?" the hundreds of images of Haku asked as they all pulled out a bunch of senbon. "Now let me show you mine." The entire dome erupted into light that blinded Sasuke, and a barrage of senbon came out of nowhere, turned him into a pincushion. Sasuke fell to one knee as the light faded. "I can't see him," Sasuke muttered to himself. When he looked up, he saw all the pictures of Haku getting ready for another attack. Haku asked in a loud voice, "Are you ready to give up?" This made Sasuke even more angry. "I'm a Uchiha, and I'm not going to give up so easily," Sasuke growled as he pulled a bunch of senbon out of his body. Haku just shook his head. He didn't like where this was going. "Please forgive me, Uchiha." Haku ready for another assault when a kunai flew into the mirror he was in. The kunai surprisingly stuck in the mirror, and Haku saw the explosive tag tied to it. Haku and Sasuke noticed that the tag seemed to have a lot more power than other tags when it blew up the bomb. "Please forgive me for stopping your little fight," said a voice with a sneer. And Haku saw Naruto's hardened face as he stood next to Sasuke. Sasuke said to Naruto, "Dobe, what are you doing here? You should be watching the house." "Well, I believe I'm going to help you keep this guy from killing you," Naruto stated. "Also, I gave them more than enough to keep them safe." Zabuza wondered what was taking Haku so long and decided at that moment to look at how Haku was faring. When he saw Naruto, he couldn't hide the joy in his eyes. Well, Zabuza said, deflecting Kakashi's kunai. "I think I may have just found my next victim." Kakashi was confused at the sudden diversion of Zabuza's attention. He followed Zabuza's gaze, and his expression went into those of a shock as he realized what Zabuza was hinting at. "What does he do here?" Kakashi was surprised. Zabuza yelled loudly enough for Naruto to hear, "Maybe now I can have that rematch." But Naruto kept looking at Haku. "Oh, this day just keeps getting better and better. Don't you agree, Kakashi?" Kakashi glared at smirking Zabuza and attacked. "Why did you jump in?" Haku asked from the mirror next to Naruto. "Because, even if he acts like a jerk, he is still my teammate and friend, and I will not let you hurt him." Haku. Sasuke gave Haku a deadly look. Haku's eyes grew a little wider as shock flashed across them. Haku was surprised that Naruto knew it was him, and he wondered what else Naruto knew. "How did you know it was me?" Haku asked. Naruto said with a smile as he dropped into a taijutsu stance. "Because your voice and hair color are exactly the same." His legs were spread apart, one behind him and the other in front. His arms were in front of him, and his hands were open and closed in a halfway position. "Now where were we?" "Oh yeah, yes, fighting." Naruto's voice was cold and devoid of all emotions. Sasuke was shocked at the sudden change in Naruto and just stared at the sadistic face of Naruto. Haku raised his senbons, and Sasuke tried to take his eyes off of Naruto. Sasuke put his hands together in a tiger seal as Haku prepared to throw his senbons, and Naruto's smile widened even more. Kakashi was forced to duck Zabuza's sword, which tried to remove his head. Zabuza used the momentum of his sword to spin him around, then gave Kakashi a hard kick to the chest that sent him flying backwards. "Your skill is dropping, Kakashi," Zabuza said. Is it because you are worried about your little students? Don't worry, for when I'm done with you, I'll be sure to send them your way as well. That way, you won't have to worry about them getting lost in hell. Zabuza sneered sadistically. Even though his chest hurt, Kakashi got up and ran towards Zabuza. Zabuza finished making a series of hand signs, and Kakashi had no choice but to watch as the mist ate him up. With Zabuza's final tiger seal being the last to go, Kakashi was sure that he had to win as he thought about this student.
I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.